Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my performance review of the New Balance Two Wxy V5. So the two-way line from New Balance has been absolutely amazing. And the two-way line is specifically for two-way players, right? And as far as the price goes, it retails for 120 bucks, which I think is an amazing price. And also they have a good amount of colorways out now, and most of the colorways look pretty dang good. So if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave in the affiliate link in the description box. If you do choose to get this shoe, it does help me out if you buy it through the affiliate link in the description box, or I'll try to leave a link right over here, or you can get it from the product pictures underneath this video. And as always, thank you guys so much for all the support. But yeah, this colorway is kind of, it's too pink for me. You know what I mean? So I'm not a huge fan of the colorway, but let's get it started off with the tracciones. And the traction pattern looks pretty similar to the Fresh Foam BB V2 with these kind of like honeycomb shapes almost, you know what I mean? But they're very rounded shapes, right? And then around that we have like a wavy line or a wavy herringbone traction pattern. So how is the traction? The traction is phenomenal. It bites really well, and I feel like it's definitely an improvement from the Fresh Foam BB V2, which had a little bit of an issue with sliding out, especially going forward. This shoe, the Two Wxy V5, still does that, but not as much, right? So the bite going forward, it slides out a little bit, especially if it is dusty, like super dusty. It does slide forward a little bit. And you know, like when you're going down the court and you kind of do like a pull up or something and you're going forward, you do need good traction going forward, you know what I mean? So of course it's not that bad, but it does slide a little bit more than normal in my personal opinion. So just be careful of that, but of course it's not that big of a deal. And going laterally, doing lateral movements, or kind of going like in a 45-degree angle, like doing this, or going in a 45-degree angle, I was good to go. It has a really nice stop. So yeah, if you're playing on a clean court, you should be good to go. And also another thing that I really like about this shoe is that it's super freaking squeaky. Of course, squeak has nothing to do with performance, but if you like a shoe that has very loud squeaks, this shoe has got you covered. It has an amazingly loud and high-pitched squeak. And if you're playing on a dusty court, however, it does pick up a little bit of dust, and like I said, it does start to slide out pretty dangerously. But if you do keep up with your wipes, you should be fine, right? And it's just a pretty easy wipe as well. So on dust, it wasn't even that bad. And durability, I feel like you should be pretty good to go. The rubber is on the harder side of things. The grooves are deep, and you have a lot of surface area. You have a lot of rubber, so you should be fine on the outdoor court. So yeah, the overall traction, I had a really good time playing in the shoe because the traction was really nice. And I would say it's borderline top tier, you know what I mean? So there's a traction there. Moving on to the heel to toe transition, overall extremely smooth. So when you're bringing the ball down the court and you're doing heel dominant strides, it's very nice, right? So here in the heel, we have a nice rounded shape, and then the foam, it has a good amount of compression. It's pretty dang soft, and also is pretty much fully exposed for the foam. So it feels super soft and smooth here in the heel, right? And then coming here to the forefoot, we have a nice rounded shape and a good amount of forefoot flex, right? But also there's a little bit of rebound back. It's not super springy, however, it's more just flexible. So overall, heel to toe transition is extremely smooth feeling, which I do like. And now moving on to the cushioning setup. So the cushioning setup is one of my favorite parts about the shoe. So the cushion is extremely comfortable, and it has a nice little bounce to it as well, and the step and cover is pretty dang nice. So yeah, it's using a blend of Fresh Foam X and also Fuel Cell, right? So Fresh Foam X is this pink part, right? This light pink color, right? It's in the heel, but also apparently it's in the ball of your foot, which is, you can't really see it on the medial side. It's just this like kind of like, what is this, like hot pink color almost, you know? But then in the rest of the foam, like in the forefoot, the rest of everything is Fuel Cell, right? So I feel like they made it a little bit stiffer for the foam. Like for this carrier, it's a little bit stiffer than the V4. However, the V5 still has nice compression, which I do like. I guess the only kind of con for the cushioning setup, in my personal opinion, is that it's not that low to the ground, right? So for example, comparing to like the Jaw 2, the Sabrina 2, which have amazing court feel, this is a little bit higher up off the ground. It's not terrible, however, right? And also, I definitely feel like it's a pretty good trade-off because you do get amazing cushion with also really nice impact protection, right? So if you're doing hard impacts, right, like heel strikes or just landing hard in the forefoot, you're good to go. My feet didn't hurt at all. It just has a nice absorption of impact, you know? You can definitely feel the foam compressing and just doesn't hurt your feet, you know what I mean? Also, the step and cover is pretty dang nice too, right? The insole's okay, you know, it has a nice bit of kind of thickness to it, and it does feel pretty dang nice. The stroke board is kind of stiff, but it does break in nicely, and you can feel the soft foam underneath your foot. So like when you're landing, you know, you can feel your foot dig into the like the fresh foam X and also the fuel cell in the forefoot a good amount. But it's not as soft as, of course, like a soft mesh stroke board found in like, you know, the DVD2 SE or like the Kai 1, but it's still nice for step and comfort. So I feel like they did a really good job in blending everything together, right? All the categories, right? Impact protections, heel compression, step and comfort, you know, court feel. I feel like they blended it all together and just made a really nice cushioning setup for most people that I think most people will enjoy. And I really liked it, especially for 120 bucks. You're getting really nice cushioning for this shoe, right? So there is the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper, so we have an EM material, right? And yeah, at first it was a little bit stiffer, but then it broke in really nicely. And I mean, at first it was still really soft. What I'm trying to say is that now that it's broken in, it did get softer, and it's really comfortable here in the toe box, right? So it has a little bit of thickness to it. It almost feels a little bit like a knit material, but yeah, it just breaks in really nicely, and it conforms your foot extremely well, especially where you know, you flex your foot here in the forefoot. So yeah, that feels really nice and comfortable. It does feel overall pretty dang supportive. We do have a little bit of fuse here in the tip of the toe for extra durability if you do toe drags. But yeah, and also it's just a really soft and comfortable material, which also does feel supportive. And then here in the midfoot, it feels pretty much the exact same. We do have the New Balance logo with this kind of like a rubberized type of material, you know, for overlays, and that stiffens up the material a little bit. And then for the tongue, we have like an average amount of padding, right? It's a kind of plush on top of your foot. We do have these kind of like 3 foam pads on top, which is kind of nice, you know, but it's not super plush. And also, it's not a half booty construction tongue. It's like a 2 straps on both sides of the tongue, but it pretty much does the same thing, you know, keeps the tongue in place, and also kind of gives you a better overall one-to-one fit. And then here in the ankle area, however, there's 0 padding, right? There is 1 line of stitching that goes all the way around the heel, which is kind of weird for the design. But yeah, we'll get into heel slippage. It wasn't heel slippage, it was just like not super locked down in the heel for me, but not super plush here in the back of the shoe, right? And of course we have here in the back of the heel, this foam kind of external heel counter, and it has the New Balance logo. So yeah, for the EM, especially for only 120 bucks, like this is super duper nice in my personal opinion, you know, and it breaks in really nicely too, and it's not like glued down at all. It's just like a really nice soft EM material, and also I feel like it has enough support for most people, right? So yeah, there is the material there. They did a really good job. And now moving on to the fit, so I went up half a size and the shoe fits me pretty dang well. So there is a little bit of length for me, but it's not that bad, you know what I mean? And here in the toe box, it's just like a normal snugness. It's not super snug, it's not super roomy. And also with this EM material, once you do break it in, it does get a little bit roomier. And also there is a little bit of like forgiveness to the material, right? Like even if it's a really snug fit here in the toe box, it doesn't feel like it's restricting the top of your toes that much, which I do like, but it doesn't make it like as supportive feeling, you know? This shoe was also kind of narrow at first, but it broke in pretty nicely for the EM, and it's a little bit looser now, so I don't mind the width as much. So if you want a really snug fit, then go true to size, but if you want it to be a little bit looser, then going up half a size is fine, because that's what I did. So overall, the fit for me was pretty dang nice, but there is a little bit of length, so just be careful with that. And now moving on to the support and lockdown, I pretty much had 0 issues with a lateral containment, right? Like in the first impressions, I thought it wouldn't be the best for lateral containment here in the forefoot, and it's not the best, but it was adequate for me, right? So my foot wasn't coming out of the footbed that much for some reason, you know? I guess the EM material is overall supportive. I am a lighter dude, so just take that with a grain of salt, because I feel like if you're heavier, right, upwards of like 200 pounds, and you're doing crazy lateral movements, then obviously I don't think this is going to be the most supportive shoe. But for me, I feel like it has just as good support for lateral containment here in the forefoot as like the Sabrina 2s or like the Jaw 2s, you know what I mean? So, and also like the PG6, you know, the PG6 was good for most people. It's just not the most supportive feeling shoe, you know, but it was adequate, right? So that's what this shoe feels like. And then here in the heel, of course, we have this external heel counter and also the foam coming up. So you're fine here in the heel, and also most people, I feel like you should be fine here in the forefoot. Lateral stability is good too. You have an outrigger. This part does protrude out a good amount, giving you a very wide and flat, stable base. So I didn't have any issues with that. Even though the foam is soft, I didn't feel laterally unstable. And overall, lockdown was really good. It's just the heel lockdown wasn't the best, right? So there's not that much kind of like foam coming in, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like my foot was slipping out, you know, of the heel that much. It's just, it didn't feel super locked down, you know what I mean? Like when I was playing, especially since the forefoot is very, very flexible, it wasn't terrible, right? And it also wasn't even that bad. It's just, it didn't feel completely locked down here in the heel. And I definitely feel like it's because there's not that much foam. So yeah, again, like it wasn't that big of a deal. So there's the support and lockdown there. Moving on to the weight of the shoe, I feel like it's probably gonna be around average, maybe a little bit lighter than average. Oh no, it's 12.85 ounces, a little bit heavier than average. Let's check the other shoe, 12.85 ounces. So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So like 0.3 ounces heavier than normal. That's not that heavy, but it does feel pretty normal for weight when you put it on, right? And it just feels a little bit bottom heavy and also a little bit bulky here in the heel because you do have all of this foam, especially with this too. But overall, it does feel pretty evenly distributed for the weight, right? But also, you feel very quick when you're playing this, right? The traction is very, very good. The cushion is overall responsive, but also really comfortable. And it just has a, like I said, it just has a nice absorption. You can feel the foam kind of like being soft and very comfortable. The upper is very comfortable, but also conforms to your foot very well while still being supportive. So I really like the feel of the overall shoe, right? And I feel very quick. It's just not the most minimal and explosive feeling shoe that you can get, but still I feel like it's a really nice feeling hoop shoe for most people if you want like a responsive feel but also very comfortable, right? And now moving on to the ventilation. Ventilation is pretty good, right? Through this EM material, there's a little bit of airflow, right, which is not that bad, but it's not crazy good. I would say it's better than average. So the ventilation is pretty good. And now moving on to the aesthetics, I really like the overall design. Again, I don't like the colorway that I have, but the overall design of the shoe looks great, and some of the other colorways looks really nice too. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, however, is the fuse material, right? So the fuse material, in my first impressions, I said that it was kind of peeling up a little bit, but it didn't really get that much worse. You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely feel like it wasn't that big of an issue. And also for durability, the overall upper does feel like it'll last a little bit longer than normal, right? So for example, like in other normal $120 to like $100 shoes, they use like a really thin kind of like textile material or mesh material. This feels a little bit thicker and it feels like it'll be last a little bit longer, right? So there's the durability there. And now wrapping things up, yeah, this shoe is absolutely amazing. The only thing I didn't like about it is that it's a little bit long, but again, that wasn't even that big of a deal, right? So yeah, amazing hoop shoe for most people, and I feel like most kind of positions and play styles it's good for, right? So if you're a big dude and you need a lot of support, I definitely feel like it's not the best option, but you should be covered, especially since the cushion's really nice. But also, if you're a guard and you want a little bit more of a nice cushioning setup, right? So of course, there's really nice guard shoes with really minimal and responsive cushioning setups that are lower to the ground, right? So there's that category. But also, if you're a guard and you want something as far as like the cushioning setup goes with a little bit more impact protection, something that's a little bit more comfortable, and if you don't mind like a little bit higher up off the ground feel, then this is an amazing option, right? If you want to trade that off, you know? And I definitely feel like a lot of people wouldn't mind that trade-off because the cushioning setup is so dang nice, right? So yeah, I had an amazing time playing in the shoe, and in my personal opinion, I feel like this is one of New Balance's best hoop shoes, right? So they have the Hezi Low V2, which is super duper nice, but I think this is a little bit better in my personal opinion. Although it does go hand in hand. The Hezi Low V2 has some pros and cons. Same thing with this shoe. It depends on your preference. But also, you know, like the Kawhi 4, I feel like, I don't know, the Kawhi 4 is super duper nice, but this shoe is still pretty dang nice, but the price is just way better. It's 120 bucks versus the Kawhi 4, which is 160 bucks. So yeah, good on New Balance. They did a really good job in giving us a really nice high quality shoe, right? The upper, the EM, Very, very nice for 120 bucks, and the cushioning setup is super duper nice for the price, right? So yeah, I would heavily recommend this shoe, and I definitely feel like a lot of people will enjoy playing this shoe as I have. So anyways, that about concludes my performance review of the new Balance Two Wxy V5. Again, if you guys do want to copy, try to leave in the link in the description box, but that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.